Crafty Stitches. I'm Danielle, and this is Flosstube number 3. Thank you so much for joining me. Whether you're new here and seeing me for the first time or coming back after a couple episodes, I'm just so glad you're here. And I love sharing cross stitch with other people who love it. So welcome. I did want to say thank you so much for the shout out from Beck Stitches Everything. Her floss tube's amazing, and it was so awesome that she mentioned me on hers. So thank you so much. I also wanted to say that if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and join me next time too, okay? So today I have 3 fully finished projects I want to share with you. One of them is brand new, brand newly fully finished. And I've got 2 oldies. So we'll get started with the oldies first. This one is actually 2 in 1, if you will. So this project is called Baby Alien Cross Stitch. And the pattern is by MadeByCaitlinShop on Etsy. And so when the pandemic started, my husband, we were all home, of course, and so my husband said he would learn to cross stitch. And I think I mentioned that previously because I have a project that he started but hasn't finished. So the first project we did was this one. We had just watched The Mandalorian and, just loved it and loved Baby Yoda. So this is the one we picked to stitch together. We decided we each stitch one and then give it to the other. So so he stitched his. This is on 16 count Aida, and we picked the DMC colors. We made his ears a little pinker too, but so that is my husband's, and then I stitched mine on 32 count white Lugana from, I think it was from Hobby Lobby. So pretty exciting. And so I don't remember how I got the idea for finishing them into coasters, but I love it because especially since he's holding the coffee, or I think it's soup or something in the show, but whatever. It's like perfect. So I actually got these from I'm not sure if I'm saying that, MoulinDesigns in France. So they're on Etsy, and she sells the plastic pieces that you can get. And all I did was I added some felt circles on the bottom to kind of help make it like slide a little bit better. And I also put the name of it, fray check. I couldn't remember around the edges of the fabric after I cut it, so to keep it from fraying. I will say these are a little fragile. There's a couple little tiny like cracks in them, but no, they're so cute. Oh my gosh. So yeah, so we gave each other's, and so his is on my desk and mine's on his desk. So anyway, so that was a really fun finish a few years ago. The next one is called Dinosaur ABC. This one is by Lucie, Heaton, Cross Stitch Designs. And so I stitched this. I stitched this and finished it in 2019. This was, I started stitching this when I found out I was pregnant with a little boy, and I finished it when he was about 2. So, and which was perfect because okay, well, I'll say, this is a 16 count white Aida, by the way, and I already mentioned it's Lucie, Heaton, cross stitch, all of the called for DMC. I got the frame at Hobby Lobby, and they also cut me this pretty awesome mat board, which is like the perfect color. And so what's funny is, of course, I picked dinosaurs. That was the theme of his nursery. And it turns out that when he was about 2, he was obsessed with the alphabet. Like, it was just his favorite thing. So, like, it was just perfect cross stitch to hang up in his room. And so it's actually, I'm just about to, we moved since then. So I'm going to put this back in his room because the other day he actually told me he wanted it in there, and he's 7 now. So I can't imagine it's going to be in there for a whole lot longer. So yeah, I'm gonna put it back in there for at least as long as he'll have it. So so that was that one. And then and then here's an exciting one. This one I finished this last week, and so my daughter turned 3 last, I think, Sunday, and I was like, I just got this, like, I'm gonna finish that So I'm going to put a couple pictures of how I had a lot of wrinkles, and it's like a soft fabric. So I did some pinning on a quilt blocking board to help kind of, after I moistened the cloth, and I was able to get actually all the wrinkles out. And so I'm really happy with how it came out. This is Happily Ever After by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, stitched on 32 count linen Silver Moon by Zweigart. And it's all the called for threads except for the white, which I used for the white in the sky, like the stars and the clouds. I used Etoile, I believe Blanc. And yeah, so I finished it. And so with this finished, sorry, where am I? I bought the frame at Hobby Lobby, and I bought a frame at Hobby Lobby, and then I was like, I think I want it to be a little bit smaller of an edge, because it came out to being kind of an unusual size. So I found a frame on Amazon that was more like the size of the pattern. And so I did that, and I used small sequin pens to pen the edges of the piece to a acid-free foam board covered with batting or interfacing. Either way, I don't actually know which one it was, but anyway, so I did that, and then so I'm really happy with how it came out, and I'm able to put it in her room. And I know you can't see probably the sparkle in the sky, but I just love that part of it too. And so so happy. So yeah, I'm gonna put that back in her room for tomorrow. All right, so those were my Foley finishes from the last few years and then this last week. And now we're going to move on to my whips I worked on this week. So I hit a few hashtags. So I'm going to start with those first. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to start with my new start first, because I realized, oh my goodness, I forgot another finish. How could I forget another finish? Okay, this, you know why? It's because this was a surprise finish. I actually did not anticipate finishing this, and I think it's because of Jolly July, and I've kind of been making sure that I've had some focus on my Christmas pieces, that I did finish this. So it's just a finish. It's not fully finished yet, but this is the 2020 Prairie Schooler Santa, and it's stitched on 32 count linen natural with all the called for threads, and I finished it yesterday. Oh, so exciting. And I haven't decided how I'm going to finish it. I do hope I finish it for this Christmas coming up, but I haven't quite decided how. And so I think I just need to do some picture hunting on Instagram, maybe, of finishes for Prairie Schooler Santas. So I'm so proud of myself that I got that one finished, though. It's been 4 years well, almost 4 years, 3.5, I think. I started it in 2020, but it was in December. So, but anyway, I'm super proud of myself for that. All right, so now that is all my finishes. So we're gonna start with my new start. This is one I mentioned last week, the last time I filmed, that I was gonna start, and it's called Do More of What You Love by the Historical Sampler Society. And it's in collaboration with Emma Congdon of Stitcherovia. And I got the littlest start on it. It's on 36 count linen in the color Pemberley by Needle and Flax. And it's kind of a white and yellow cream kind of color. And so when I saw this design, I actually noticed it on on Instagram. At Stitchy Squirrels had, I think she had gotten to the pattern to show and stitch up for Instagram. And anyway, so I mentioned how hers is just beautiful, and so I asked her, like, I was just like, it's just beautiful, tell me more. And so she was like, it was so fun to stitch, but the back stitching is no joke. And so when she told me that, I was like, okay, I've got to treat it like my stocking, where I do a section and then I back stitch, so that I don't leave it for the end and then I never finish it. So that's what I did. And so I kind of started, I feel like, in a kind of a tough corner, because if you can see, like, that yarn ball, I mean, it's long back stitches basically for this, and because I wanted it to look kind of authentic, and so like as if it were yarn pieces, and so that was tricky. It was also a little tricky because that color is kind of close to cream in general and also close to the fabric, but that's how they stitched it in the model as well. I mean, it didn't have the yellow in the fabric, it was more like of a cream. So I'm going to trust that once I get the flower back stitched and more colors on here, that yarn ball is kind of blend in nicely too. So so that's my start on Do More of What You Love by the Historical Sampler Society. All right. Oh, and that was for the I didn't have a hashtag for that one. All right, well, this one I do have a hashtag for. It's the hashtag Pull Out Your Kit by the at Thread Gremlins on Instagram. And so what a fun stitch along. I mean, who doesn't have a kit that they had in their like back drawer for a while, right? So I have one. It's my oldest whip, and of course it's the cutest one too. It's by Dimensions, and it's Achoo. Okay. Oh gosh. Again. Oh, look at that face. Okay, so I'm using everything in the kit. It's 14 count Aida. It's pretty stiff. It does. It's easy to stitch on though. I've got that cute needle minder for my friend Emily. She got that pen at Disney and turned it into a needle minder for me. And so what I worked on this time is all the spots at the very bottom. They're all done. All those spots he lost are done. So what's tricky about this pattern, and I don't know that I realized it, but so the back stitching on this is all half stitches, and they're all different numbers of threads. So there's like maybe three or four colors in those spots, and each one is like a different set of strands. So the black is 4 strands, and I think the gray is 2 strands, and there's a lighter, so on and so forth. So, which is fine, except that it makes for some thick stitching even on 14 count. It does add dimension though, which I think is what they were going for, which is what it's also called by Dimensions. So, but I'm super happy that I finished those spots. I feel like that's kind of that was one of the tough parts for me, and so I'm excited to move on to the puppy, especially his face, because I love that part. And I've also had this one going for over 10 years, so it's probably time for me to, get it finished. So. Okay, so the next hashtag I worked on was Mountain Out of a Mill Hill, hashtag Mountain Out of a Mill Hill by Beck Stitches Everything and XO Needle in the Hay XO, which is another great stitch along. And so I picked up Camping Out by Mill Hill. And so this is the Buttons and Beads series. And I forgot that I had the picture. So here's the picture. And we got this when we were in Tennessee. And then here is where I've got to. So I finished, well, I haven't finished, but I finished a lot of the tent, and I still have a string there. And so it's coming right along. I'm happy that I got this out. And it is a nice stitch. So, and everything came in the kit too. So. And I've had that one going for a couple of years too, so that's why I'm like, oh, I love this stitch along that gets me to work on things that I haven't pulled out in a while. So, all right. And then this one kind of satisfies 2 hashtags, because it's also hashtag Mountain Out of a Mill Hill, but it's also hashtag Jolly July. And so this one is Santa Paws. And I shouldn't press my. There it is. Got out my little cutting mat for I guess my future quilting hobby that I haven't started yet. Anyway, here I am, and it's not super exciting. I started this light tan color, which is almost the same color as the paper, but I pretty much finished the paw. I got that cute red heart in the center. The rest of the stitching here in the paw, or at least that main paw pad, is beads. So that's actually done for now. And then I've got, you know, 4 little toes up here I gotta work on. So that's where I left that. That is also on all the kitted materials that came with it. And that's what I'm hoping to finish for sure this year. So I would like to get that done. And it's neat. They had, I think, originally thought they were going to do a shorter stitch along, like ending it in July, but then Beck Stitches Everything mentioned that on her best video. She's like, I think I'm just going to keep this going. And I'm like, that's good, because then I can keep working on this one too. So, all right. So now we're going to get into another Jolly July project that I'm working on. And this one is the North Woods Heirloom Christmas Stocking. It's by Cooler Design Studio. And I have this stitched on 25 count Lugana in Potato by Zweigart. And it's all the called for DMC. It's 3/2. And I was thinking about this needle minder when I was ironing it today. I pulled off the needle minder and I was like, this needle minder is looking pretty used. And what's funny is it's been used on every stocking I've done so far. So I've done 2 others, and these are pretty, like, they take me at least a couple of years, if not 3. And so I'm like, it's starting to look pretty worn. But it's by the Caffeinated Cat Crafts on Etsy. And what I love about it is it has such a strong magnet. It's a really nice needle minder. So anyway, it's definitely been put to use. So what I did this time with this pattern, so I was gonna work up on the blue chest above the horse, but then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do some more blocks instead. Might as well go ahead and get those done because they're near him. And so I did that A and B block, and which they look like pretty, you know, small parts, but there are actually like 3 or 4 colors in those blocks. So they do take a little bit of time to get done. But yeah, so I'm happy with where that's going. All right, and then my last Jolly July hashtag here is Advent Animals by Brooks Books. This is a freebie on her website. And there's 25 of them, and they're all super cute animals. This one is called Mary Mouse, and it's on 28 count linen by Zweigart, and it's a raw opalescent. And this needle minder, I had someone ask, and I couldn't find the comment, so I wanted to tell you, this is the Trendy Little Geek on Etsy. Okay, it's so cute. It says cappuccino. But anyway, Mary Mouse is coming right along. I had to buy the color in her skirt. I didn't have it, and so I actually got that a few days ago, and so I should be able to finish her skirt. And then all that's missing is the back stitching. So she's another one that I'm really close to finishing, which is super exciting. Now we're gonna get into my regular whips. So this one, I'm glad I got this one out. I didn't do a lot on it this week, but I was really happy to see it, and I'm hoping that because I got it out once, maybe I'll get it out again soon. But this is the Chibi Disney Princesses, and this is by Antique Stitch, which unfortunately is no longer available. I tried to look on Etsy, which is where I bought it, but she doesn't have, at least not from where I bought it, is not available. But it's stitched on 28 count Lugana in the color Definium by Fabric Flare. And it's not showing up quite like it is, but it's like a light purple. And it used to have a sparkle to it, which you can have them like add a sparkle, I guess, a spray sparkle on the cloth or something. But because this stitch has been going on, let's see, when did I start it? 2021. So the sparkle has gone, probably because I manipulated the cloth so much, but that's okay. It still looks awesome. And I started Belle. So I'm gonna fold it just a little bit so I can get a better purchase on. So I got Belle's hair here. I did have to do some color changing because it turns out I don't actually have the right browns, which it doesn't really matter. But so that's one thing I did, and but yeah, so I'm glad I got her started, and I'm hoping that I can get rolling on this one because my daughter, now that I've finished my youngest daughter, my older daughter's like, when are my princesses going to be done? So I'm like, good point. We're getting there, and I'm working on it. so that's where I'm on with that one. The next one is also sort of, it's a mini finish in the way of a sal that I've been working on. It's the Arctic Animal Sal by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And it's stitched on 28 count Lugana by Picture This Plus. And I'm sorry, I said Lugana. I meant linen. And the colorway is Nocturne. And so this is all the called for DMC as of now, and I finished the second release, I guess, or part 2. That's what it is. Part 2. I finished it, and that was the walrus. And so they recently just released another one that's going to come out and be put right here, and it's or is that right? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, it's oh gosh, now I'm gonna forget what it was. I'm sure you'll see it in the picture. I'll show it. It reminds me of like a yak or something, but it's not. But anyway, it's okay. So yes, so I finished part 2. I'm ready for part 3, which I'm hoping I'm gonna get some work on this one over the next couple of weeks. And this is a fun one to get out. I really like working on it. So, okay. All right, and then the last whip I have to show you is, I was also proud of myself for working on this one. So I had said in the last video that I wanted to get out my full coverage projects more frequently than I have been. And so this time I didn't really feel like doing the treasure shelf, so I pulled out Magic Study. And so Magic Study is by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artwork is by Rose Kahn. And this, unfortunately, is another pattern that is no longer on Heaven and Earth Designs, but it's just absolutely beautiful. And so I only had a small part done before. I think it was just like this corner. And so, let me see. Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure it's showing up like I want it to, but I got that much done. So it's like almost 900 stitches I did over a couple days. This is, okay, one thing to tell you, it's 32 count even weave on easy counts. And I do really like the easy count for these. It makes it a lot easier to kind of move around a lot. I do like cross country. I've tried parking. I'm probably not doing it appropriately, but this hasn't been my favorite. And I've tried it a few different ways too. So currently what I'm doing is I'm kind of going diagonally. I'm just picking the blocks and then filling in a block and also anything around it, and then going again diagonally until I finish that, because I kind of want to make sure I work into the picture. It is 10 stitch. I'm doing 2/1 10 stitch to get good coverage, and I am really happy with that. Sorry, I want to tell you that this needle minder, which is super cute, it says, "In a world of bookworms, be a book dragon," which is truth. And it's from Mad for Minders on Etsy. So, but yeah, so, oh, and I want to also point out, that outline right here is actually a butterfly. So it's just so neat. So I actually have a butterfly that's already starting to show up. And these little circles up here are lights. So there's like a whole string of lights here. So, but I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I actually have something showing up already. It's not just the ceiling. So, which is why I wanted to do that diagonal method, because if I do that, I'm going to start to get into some of the cute little dragons in the bookshelf and such. So, so that was really fun to work on. And I'm so proud of myself for almost doing 1,000 stitches. All right, so those are my projects I worked on this week, or last 2 weeks, and I just loved it. I love jumping around, and I honestly am happy to work on something different every night, or even a couple things during the day if I have time. So, so just to let you know, that's something I enjoy doing. And so, my plans for the next 2 weeks are, I want to keep working on Jolly July for what's left of July. I'm really close on Mary Mouse, so that would be really awesome. And just getting some more work on the Santa paws and the stocking would be also great. The other thing I think I'm going to shift my Mill Hill Monday. I'm going to do the Mill Hill Monday and also include that in the make a mountain out of a molehill. So I can kind of combine those and do those on Monday, because maybe that will motivate me to, get to that project too. The other thing I'm really excited about is the upcoming hashtag Stitch the Olympics. Or no, it's hashtag Stitch the Summer Olympics. I'm sorry. So that is by on Instagram, the Naptime Stitcher, and she has put out a whole bunch of prompts for each day of the Olympics so you can pick a project. And so I've already done my plans for that, and in it I have one new start. And I'll put a picture here. That's the only thing I'll show you for now, because I definitely am going to start that this week. It's called Flag Bearer, and it's a freebie on Leela's Studio's website. And it's like part of her spring parade that I guess she decided not to release, but it's the cutest pattern. I love it. And it's also nice because it's a small, so that's what I need right in my life right now. So I'm very excited to start that. And then I've also planned the other dates. The tricky part is actually we're going to be going on vacation with family in a couple of weeks. And so I'm like, I picture myself bringing basically like a whole suitcase for my 10 projects or whatever that I'm supposed to work on during the Olympics. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. And so maybe I'll just be able to hit up a few during that time. I also don't know how much stitching time I'm going to get. It's neat because the cousins, they're all getting to an age now. Well, I mean, mine are getting to an age where they want to play, and they basically just run off and just have a good time with their cousins. But my 3-year-old's kind of still they're still just not. She's the youngest, so yeah. So we'll see how much stitching time I get, but I'm super excited. I'm definitely going to bring some projects and work on them. And so the other key to that is my next video is going to be in 3 weeks, because I won't be here in 2 weeks to film the next one. But hopefully I'll have lots to show then, and we can talk about the hashtag Stitch the Summer Olympics, which like I said, is super exciting. And also I get to watch the Summer Olympics, which I don't know about you guys, but it's like, I just love having it on in the background. My kids we just watch all the amazing athletic talent of these people. So cool. So yeah, so I think that's all. Gosh, it's been so nice spending time with you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you guys again in 3 weeks.